video lane. Hi all, welcome. Just wait for a couple more people to join and then we'll get started. Hopefully you can all see some slides on the screen as well. Those just joined just said we'll wait another minute or so just to allow everyone to come in and then we will get started. Okay, so we're at 2 minutes past, so I'll get started now. A massive welcome and good morning to everyone that has joined for our session this morning, which is a day in the life of a solicitor apprentice. So my name is Alice Hasted. I am the Senior Early Talent Advisor at Taylor Wessing, and I will talk a little bit more as to Taylor Wessing, who they are, in a second. But I'm joined by my colleague Daisy. Did you want to introduce yourself, Daisy?
Yeah, I can do. So hi, I'm Daisy. I'm a first year Solicitor Apprentice at Taylor Wessing, and a bit later on in the session I'll be going through kind of my day-to-day life and what sort of jobs I get up to on a daily basis.
Thanks, Daisy. So as Daisy mentioned, we will be talking through Daisy's role and what a solicitor apprentice is, and we'll also speak to who Taylor Wessing are in the next couple of slides to give you just an idea as to who a law firm are and what type of work you could get involved in. And then we'll finish off the session with a little bit of information on application process in case any of this has kind of piqued your interest. And then I have time at the end for any questions. So feel free to be popping those in the Q&A box as we go through, and we will turn our head to those at the end. So as promised, we're going to start with a Taylor Wessing overview. And as I said, this is just to give you some context as to different types of law firms and what it is that we do. So Taylor Wessing, you can see on the slide, are a global law firm that serves the world's most innovative people and businesses. We are international in our reach, and we have 29 offices in 17 different jurisdictions across Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and the US. So these jurisdictions were chosen because we want to support our clients wherever they want to do business. And the large expansion of offices across the globe is based on our international strategy, which is to blend the best of local, commercial, industry and cultural knowledge to our international expertise. And that essentially allows us to provide proactive integrated solutions for our clients. In the UK, we have 3 main offices. So our main office is in London, 5 New Street Square, and that's where Daisy and myself are working. Not today, we're both at home, but normally we are in the office. We have our Cambridge office that supports our life sciences and tech clients there. And we also have our Liverpool office, which opened in 2018 and supports every aspect of our business. And when we speak in a moment about our opportunities for solicitor apprentices, you'll see that we have opportunities both in London and Liverpool for anyone that is interested. So who are we and kind of what do we do? So to us, key to our success of the firm has been our clear sector focus. So we pride ourselves in not just understanding the law, but understanding the worlds in which our clients operate. So as a law firm, what you do is you have different what we call practice areas, and that means the different types of work that we do in a legal sense. We base ourselves we have those practice areas, but we also base ourselves around our sectors, and that's the type of industries essentially that we work with and we provide those legal advice to. So our 4 core sectors are on the screen, sorry. So we've got technology, media and communications, private wealth, real estate, infrastructure and energy, and life sciences and healthcare. So if any of these sectors are of interest to you, if you did a apprenticeship at Taylor Wessing, you would be able to get involved in work in those industries and clients that work in these industries. So technology, media and communications, we are a leading firm for clients from startups to multinationals, and we support our clients at each point of the global tech triangle, and that is London, Singapore and Silicon Valley in the US. Private wealth, so this is essentially a combination of both corporate law and private client law. And that's essentially working with the world's most wealthy people to support them in their financial needs and their wills and everything like that. And also in the corporate sense for any companies that normally wealthy people will have. Real estate, infrastructure and energy is one of our biggest groups, and they support anything from entrepreneurs to families and corporate investors. We do a lot in the space of student accommodation, and Daisy actually sits in our real estate team, so we'll be able to speak a little bit more about that shortly.
Yeah, I can give a bit of an insight into that in a bit.
Perfect, thank you. And then finally, life sciences and healthcare. So we're a one-stop firm for life sciences company, and we advise on all stages of a product cycle. So we do things for pharmaceuticals, medical devices, technology, from kind of the research point all the way through to post-patent expiry. But we can only be leaders in our chosen sectors if we are also experts in our core legal disciplines, and this is where I mean around our practice areas. So our corporate teams, we are a corporate law firm, and they complete a number of deals across our core sectors. Our disputes team, so disputes and investigations, they cover a broad range of work, and we do a lot in fraud, white collar crime, product liability, and we are one of the main firms that do the defence work, for leading accountancy firms as well. And then IP, so that stands for intellectual property, and we cover a wide range of advisory litigation work, including brand management, protecting copyright and trademarks, and reputation management. So some of the things you might see in newspapers, we might have stopped getting there, or we might have tweaked what I've said, for example. And then the final slide about Taylor Wessing I just wanted to share was just on our values. So when you look at a career in law, I'd really advise you to consider each firm's values. Everyone will have them, and ensure that you have an alignment with them. They're going to be what different firms are looking for in the recruitment process when they meet you, and expect an alignment with. And it will also help you to decide whether this is the right firm for you. So you can see them on the screen. I'm not going to speak through them, but they are what we live and breathe at Taylor Wessing, and they're kind of what we do: excellence, creative, responsible, and how we do it through being a team, having integrity and respecting one another. So before I hand over to Daisy, I did just want to speak a little bit around the roots of becoming a solicitor, because this might be a new field and space for you. So we're obviously here to talk to you about solicitor apprenticeships. But we did want to flag there are other ways, and I really wanted to flag that because I wanted to highlight that actually a solicitor apprenticeship takes the exact same amount of time as if you went to university to qualify to become a lawyer. So you're not taking a longer route, you're taking the exact same route that you would have, and you're actually kind of guaranteeing at an earlier stage an opportunity to become a solicitor than if you went to university and had to get a training contract later down the line. So you can see the very top line where it says 6-year journey, and then we speak to A-levels or equivalent. This is your solicitor apprenticeship route. So you would do your A-levels or equivalent. You would then join a firm on your apprenticeship scheme, which would last for 6 years. And I'll speak in a bit more detail about this in a moment, but you'd also complete during those 6 years your LLB in law and your SQE. And then you'd also complete your SQE exams. It could be that you do them after, during, before, to be confirmed on the firm. And at the end of that, after your 6 years, you'd qualify as a solicitor. The middle line is how it would work if you did a law degree. So you would do your A-levels, then you do your degree, you do your SQE, and then you would do a 2-year training contract before qualifying as a solicitor. And then the bottom line is to just highlight a non-law degree course. So if you did go to university and you did a non-law degree, we would at Taylor Wessing ask you to do the PGDL, which is why it adds an extra year. But we are here to obviously talk about becoming a solicitor apprentice, so focusing on that top line. And I wanted to, in that vein, share with you our solicitor apprenticeship offering to give you an idea as to what it is that being a solicitor apprentice would involve before Daisy brings that up to life a little bit more. So as I mentioned, this is a 6-year apprenticeship for those who have completed their A-levels. To highlight at this point, you cannot have completed a degree to do a solicitor apprenticeship. There are some firms that would offer a graduate solicitor apprenticeship, which is for those that have completed a university degree. But what we are recruiting for at Taylor Wessing, and if you see the word just solicitor apprenticeship, it is for those that have not completed a degree. You are employed on a full-time basis, so you get a full salary, but you are working 4 days at the firm and using 1 day for your study day at the University of Law. And that's our choice that we use the University of Law. Other firms may use BPP, for example. We fully fund as a firm your LLBs, that's your law degree, and your SQE. So there's no financial cost to you as an individual. It is completely covered by the firm, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, a university degree is quite costly. So there is a major saving there for you as well. And you are learning on the job whilst getting your degree and completing your SQE. So at Taylor Wessing, you spend your first year, so first 4 years, so years 1 to 4 in a practice area each year. And then in year 5 and 6, you join our traditional training contract, which essentially means that you rotate into a different practice area every 6 months. So in total, you will join 8 different practice areas across 6 years, which is incredibly exciting to have that amount of exposure and that many opportunities to learn about the different elements of a firm, to find that right space for you that you can then choose to qualify into at the end of your 6 years. Every single apprentice gets a supervisor, and that supervisor's role is to support you as an individual in a pastoral sense, but also to ensure you're getting the right work, to ensure you're hitting the right milestones, balancing your time, anything that you need assistance with. We've also introduced something called an apprenticeship champion. And these are individuals in a different practice area to the one that the apprentice is sat in, that again can give an extra helping hand, some guidance from a different perspective outside of practice area that will allow the individual to see different perspectives and different understandings and meet more people across the firm. As I mentioned, a massive benefit of doing a solicitor apprenticeship is that you are able to learn on the job and train at the same time as getting your degree. And that allows you to put everything that you're learning in your degree into kind of context and understand it and actually practically do something that you're learning at the same time, rather than learning it all, going away and then coming back and having to remember it when you're doing your actual job. So there is a massive benefit to that, along with the cost savings. At the end of your apprenticeship, we mentioned you would complete the SQE. So the SQE stands for the Solicitor Qualifications Exams, and you do prep courses for SQE 1 and 2, and you still complete the exams as well. Again, this is fully sponsored by the firm and supported by the firm. You get study days for this, so it's all encompassed in what we provide. And at the end of those 6 years, you are ready to qualify as a solicitor, and you will be considered for any newly qualified roles at the firm alongside our trainee solicitors. So that is just a bit of an overview as to what our apprenticeship offering is. So what is it that we look for at Taylor Wessing? I will quickly speak to this. We are, as I mentioned, recruiting 2 to 4 solicitor apprentices in Liverpool and London. We do look for excellent academic results. Our requirement is AAB at A level, but we do include mitigating circumstances, and we use something called RARE's contextualised recruitment system that allows us to look at your results in contextualised systems. We're obviously looking for you to be ambitious, have drive and enthusiasm, excitement at the potential career that you're about to go into. We are a people business, therefore we expect you to be able to work with others and communicate effectively in both your verbal and written skills. We're looking for a commitment to law. That's quite hard at an early stage, but attending events like today and our open days allows you to do that. And then some commercial awareness, which will come with time, but those sectors I spoke to at the beginning, getting an idea as to what their business is, what type of businesses sit within that, is a great way to build your commercial awareness. So I'm sure you're all bored of hearing my voice and are interested in getting to the bulk of this session, which is a day in the life of a solicitor apprentice. So Daisy, I will hand over to you.
Great, thank you. So just a bit about me to start off with. So I'm a first year apprentice. It's actually the first intake that Taylor Wessing has. So there's 3 of us at the moment, and we're the first year to kind of go through the system. So I've just finished my A-levels. I finished them in July, and I took history, economics, government politics, maths, and I also did an EPQ in a law-based subject. So I didn't study law at A-level, which I think is quite important to highlight. You need no pre-understanding of law to take the apprenticeship route. I think that was something that I was worried about to begin with, but the firm really do supply you with all the training that you need to get straight into the tasks, which is great. As Alice said earlier, I'm currently sat in real estate, so I'll speak in a bit about the different tasks that I'm doing in real estate, but it's nice to be in one of the core practice areas. We're quite a big team. I'd say there's about 80 of us in the London office. So yeah, that's just a bit of an overview about me. Considering why I wanted to do the apprenticeship. No, that's all right, Alice, sorry. I think for me, it was just the on-the-job experience that you can get through doing the apprenticeship. So at the moment, I'm getting to talk to partners on a daily basis. I'm getting stuck into loads of different types of work within real estate. And over the 6 years, I'll be in 8 different practice areas, as Alice said. So I think it's just that exposure to different areas of law and different practice areas that really made me want to take the apprenticeship route. As well, you've got the fact that you're not going to uni. And for me, I'm the sort of person who likes to get quite stuck in and learn through actually completing tasks. So I think I was much better suited to the apprenticeship route as opposed to the university route where you're more sitting in lectures and doing, I'd say, more of a passive route into law. So I think just getting that active involvement in the job is really useful. So then if we move on to a day in my life, I guess. So usually I get into the firm, which I'm working in the London office, about 9 to half 9. So my official start time is half 9, but usually I will get in a bit early, have breakfast, and just settle myself to make sure that I'm ready to start the day at 9 o'clock. So I travel into the office as well, so it just makes sure that I'm in time and ready to start. So we do get complimentary breakfast, which is a big plus at Taylor Wessing. So you can just go up to Cloud 9, which is our canteen, and bring some breakfast down, or obviously sit out there. So during this time as well, I like to set out my day and prepare for my day. I think this might just be a personal preference, but it really helps me to understand the tasks that I'm taking part in. So usually I'll spend about half an hour going through my emails, just seeing any tasks that have come in. And I'm a massive fan of a list. So I'll write out a big list of everything that I've got to do for the day, any meetings that I've got, and just really make myself aware of my schedule so that I'm prepared for what's going to come that day. So usually I'll have maybe 1 or 2 meetings a day, which is quite nice. It splits the day up a bit. So these involve resourcing meetings. So in real estate, we have a resourcing manager, which I guess is another almost pastoral layer to the apprenticeship system. So they'll make sure that you've got work on, you've got the right work on, and if you're feeling that you've got too much work on, you can speak to resourcing and they'll kind of divvy it up between you and the trainees. So I think that's a really important meeting that I have. In real estate, we do it once a week, but I don't know how the different practice areas work with that. Briefings, so I have briefings with my supervisor, just in concerns to any clients that we might be working with, or any, just any tasks that are coming up, to make sure that I'm aware of what's expected of me and what sort of work I'll be doing with a particular client. So I also get paralegal briefings, which is quite nice. So paralegals are kind of legal aids that work within real estate. So I get to sit in on their briefings and see what they're doing as well. So it's quite nice for me because I get a bit of a mix of paralegal and trainee work, which just adds to the diversity of the tasks that I get. So I'd say they're my main meetings. I get the occasional client meeting, which is nice as well. Just listening into conversations that the partners are having, I think really helps you to contextualize the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis and actually see the results of what's coming out of that. So then my day-to-day tasks, obviously these will vary depending on your department. But for me, I do a lot of extracting key information from documents. So in real estate, we work with a lot of leases and agreements. And so our clients want to know what is expected of them through the agreements that they've signed. So I'll go through and any expectations of the client, I'll pull them out of the leases and compile a document together to be able to send off to the client, just to let them know what their obligations are in relation to sales. I do quite a lot of drafting, which is really nice because you get to see how the first draft that you've created is changed and adapted to when it goes out to the client. So I get added to all client emails just so that I can keep up to date with what's happening with the deal and see how my work's changing as it goes through. And it's nice to also work with the associates and get an understanding as to maybe why part of your drafting has been changed and how the document should look and how it changes through the process, so that next time you do some drafting, you know what additional things to implement. Managing data sites. So a data site is essentially a secure place where all client documents will be sent to so that they can access it in a secure way. So I'm admin on a lot of data sites and just making sure that the client has all documents that they need. Legal research and training is a massive part of my day-to-day basis. Obviously, where I haven't done a law degree, going straight into real estate could be quite daunting to start off with because there's a lot of different parliamentary acts and statutes that you need to get your head around to be able to do the day-to-day work. So I get included in the trainee training sessions to just get a bit of context on what I'm working on. And I get a lot of time to do legal research as well. So this is maybe when associates or a partner has got a deal coming up that's going to rely on this legislation and these statutes, they'll often ask you to just do some research in it to refresh yourself on what the statute's referring to and to compile a note for them just so that they've got that additional part of research as well, which I think is particularly helpful for me just to, I guess it aids the learning curve. So I guess more real estate based tasks, we have things called CPSC replies, which I do a lot, which is essentially due diligence. So if you don't know what due diligence is, it's basically finding any faults in the property and it compiles all the information that a client needs about the property so that they can then decide if they want to go forward and purchase it. So I've got a deal that I'm working on at the moment, which is actually about a pub and all of the information on the pub. So I've kind of been given a lot of responsibility on this deal. So I have daily contact with the client, sending them over any CPSC replies that they need. They'll send me over any questions and I can just make sure that that all gets attended to. I think real estate markets that we're working in, there's a massive focus on operational real estate at the moment, which is essentially property assets that have a second income as opposed to just the rent and the leases. So that's things like retirement homes that have got caps and any retail units that have got offices in them and things like that. So we do a lot of work on student living, hotels, retirement living, office blocks. So really big deals that you're seeing. Some of our clients include McLaren Property, which is a really big development company. So you're getting to see a lot of the work that you're doing come to life. And I often find walking around London, I can kind of pick out some of the buildings that I've been working on, which is quite exciting. I'll then finish between 5:30 and 6, and then there's often some sort of social after work, whether that's a Christmas party or a department get together, which is quite nice as well. So then moving on to the skills that I say I would use in a day-to-day basis. Legal research is something that you obviously don't get a lot of experience with before you sign on to the apprenticeship scheme, but for me it was actually my apprentice champion who sat me down, spent half an hour with me just teaching me how to compile legal research. It really is a skill that you learn on the job, and everyone has their own individual style of doing this research and how you lay it out, but I'd say that's definitely what a lot of my time goes on. Time management skills. So for me, that's making my list in the morning and just making sure that I know what I've got coming up for the day and any deadlines. And where you are working on big deals, there are going to be deadlines that you're going to be expected to meet. So it's just making sure that you're on top of those. And if you feel like you've got too much on and too many deadlines in the same time period, then talking to your supervisor and making sure that they know what you're working on so that they can help you manage that. Effective communication is again with clients. You do get a lot of contact with clients, and so it's just making sure that you're effective in portraying any information, but also in talking to other people throughout the firm. So you do get a lot of exposure to different practice areas and some real experts in their fields, and so communication is really good to get the best out of the experience and to make sure that you're talking to as many people as possible to really develop yourself. And I'd say adaptability as well. You're going to be working on a lot of different things in a day, which I think is the excitement of it, the fact that you've got such a varied workload within a day. So it's just making sure that you adapt and you can change what you're doing quickly to make sure that you're getting everything covered. But yeah, I'd say those are my key skills for an apprentice. And I think that's a summary of a day in my life.
Thank you, Daisy. So very quickly, I think I've got 1 or 2 more slides. So I'm conscious we wanted to get, if possible, a question or 2 in, if there are any. If that has piqued your interest and Daisy has shown you why you want to be a solicitor apprentice, I did just want to very quickly share our application process. So our online application form is the first stage, and applications will open on the 1st of January. So you're not too late if you are in year 13 and would like to apply for our apprenticeship scheme. And this is to start in September 2024. Once we've screened your application, you'd be invited to an online assessment, which is a verbal reasoning and a critical thinking assessment. And then you attend a assessment centre, which is a presentation, competency-based interview and written assessment. But don't be put off by those stages. We are here to support you. There's lots of resources online. We are running an open day in February, which you can sign up to learn more and build some more connections with people at Taylor Wessing. So if it is of interest, please do have a look on our website as of the 1st of January. I think that gives us 2 minutes for questions. If there are any, please feel free to put them in the chat. I just want to share on here our Instagram page as well, in case anyone, whilst you might be writing your questions, does want to follow us on Instagram. We do post updates around, I know it says grads, but also the Solicitor Apprenticeship scheme as well. I just haven't worked out how you change the name from grads. I'm not that tech savvy. So just let me know if there are any questions. I'll just get the Q&A box up. Last minute.
There's nothing in there at the moment, but obviously with a number of different roles out there, Daisy, why did you choose the solicitor approach?
So for me, I just had an interest from law from the beginning. So I'd say my interest started maybe in year 10, year 11. And I knew that I wanted to practice some form of law. I did some work experience with a barrister, and that made me think that I wanted to do the solicitor role more, working in a more corporate route. And I think my study of economics at A-level as well just helped me realise that I wanted to go a more corporate route and take the solicitor role on. So for me, it was just the passion for law to begin with that maybe think of taking this route.
Brilliant, thank you.
I'm conscious we're at past, Clive. Do we need to jump off straight away?
Yeah, we're kind of back to back. I know there's a couple of questions in there. I think we just type the answers to afterwards.
Okay, I can type them. That's fine.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you all for
Thank
joining.
you.
Have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you, Daisy.